Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Walton Hills public hearing on Tuesday, May 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following House Bill 404 that allows public bodies to meet electronically through July 2021. This public hearing is being held, I should read the public notice, that's okay. Okay, you have it? Let me grab the public notice, we'll read that. And we'll go right into the, I thought I had everything covered when I was through it. Public notice was in the Plain Dealer. Yes, there it is.
The original.
Yes. What date does it have, the date it was posted? Yes. Okay, the public notice was in the Plain Dealer on April 17th, 2021. And this reads the public notice. Public notice, Village of Walton Hills. The Walton Hills Village Council will meet and hold public hearings on the following proposed amendments to the Village of Walton Hills Planning and Zoning Code. Ordinance 2021-6, an ordinance amending section 1292.11, construction standards regarding permissible paving materials and paving standards, and section 1292.12, maintenance and storage standards, extending and clarifying the requirements and standards for parking lot maintenance. Ordinance 2021-7, an ordinance amending chapter 1252, definitions to remove and replace definitions for residential facilities in order to bring them into conformity with recent amendments to the Ohio Revised Code. And ordinance 2021-8, an ordinance amending chapter 1266, Country Home District, by revising section 1266.02. Use regulations to include residential facilities as redefined and amending sections 1266.10 to prohibit the renting of rooms in single-family dwellings. The public hearing will take place on Tuesday, May 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at Walton Hills Village Hall, Council Chambers, 7595 Walton Road, Walton Hills, Ohio 44146. Due to the COVID-19, the Village Hall is closed for notice. As such, the hearing will be live streamed on YouTube in compliance with COVID-19 protocols, and a link will be posted on the Village website at www.waltonhillsohio.gov and on the Village Facebook page. Residents can submit comments during the meeting in the chat feature on YouTube or prior to the meeting to reve@waltonhillsohio.gov. For further information, contact Angela Reve at 440-232-7800. The full text of the proposed amendments is available on the Village website as part of the April 13, 2021 COW meeting agenda, and that can be found under Government, Village Council, and that is the public notice. Okay, item 3 is code amendments. Code amendments approved by Planning Commission. These code amendments that we're having at this public hearing this evening did go through the Planning Commission and were moved from Planning Commission. They were approved by Planning Commission and moved to Council, and one of the requirements also is to have this public hearing. And then following the public hearing, we will have a council meeting, and they are on the agenda for the council meeting. So we can start with, first of all, any questions from any residents or anybody else observing the meeting tonight?
Not yet.
Anybody on the meeting tonight?
8. It was teetering of 9 and now it's back to 8.
Okay, So we have 8 people electronically joining us tonight on the meeting so far. For the public notice, if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in at any time, and we'll be glad to address them the best we can. Okay? So item A, chapter 1292.11, construction standards. Any questions on that? Just for the residents and the public, council has, just like the public has had record of this and have reviewed them, and we have discussed them prior, and we will discuss them again right now, and also if there's any questions in our council meeting. Okay, do we want to look at the attachments? There's the attachment, construction standard paving, you have that in your packet. Also, any questions on 1292.11? Okay. Item B, any questions, first of all, on item A from any residents or any of the public? Item B is 1292.12, maintenance and storage standards. Anybody want to comment on that, or any comments on that? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Spitzman.
Thank you, Mayor. In this one, and I'm referring to 1292.12A, maintenance standards, there's an apparent discrepancy, I don't know if it is or not, between what we have in our packet to vote on tonight as opposed to what's in the packet for the public hearing. This paragraph, 1292.12A, in the public hearing packet, there's a sentence in there that says, after in a neat and legible condition, and it says, all signs and pavement markings shall comply with the provisions of the Ohio Building Code and such standards as may be established by the municipal engineer. That sentence is not included in our ordinance packet that we will be passing tonight, so I don't know if that's intended to be there or not.
I believe it is. I took everything from our initial packet, so I didn't look back at the final, so that was omitted on my part, so we can amend that.
Right. I would think it's something we would want in there.
I would, yeah.
I know we have George here, George Smerigan, our zoning consultant and planner, and I see him nodding his head back there too. So I think if council's all in agreement, we need to make an amendment, Mr. Walton?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can make a motion to amend it to, if you want to read it, the whole paragraph, it would only take 2 minutes if you want to read that.
You want me to do that, Mayor?
Well, no, when we wouldn't have to do it now. We would do it in our council meeting, amendment to the legislation.
Okay, very good.
You're okay with that? Good.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. How's everybody feel about that? Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Not that, I mean, we'll discuss that tonight, it's a public hearing too, but we're the public and, we're guiding this. Any other questions relating to 1292.12?
The last item?
No, Mayor,
Yes.
I did write a short email today. When I did write that, there was, it is explained in, well, actually it's covered in the prior 21-6 ordinance with the paving paragraph where it says materials for such repairs will be at the discretion of the village engineer and the zoning code enforcement agent. That we had discussed prior, and they had agreed to put that in there. I didn't know if we wanted it also, that type of wording in this maintenance paragraph or not. I think since it's covered in the, or in the other paragraph, we would probably be covered, or most likely be covered, and if somebody, wanted to challenge it, but,
Well-
when I did write that, I didn't see that sentence in there.
No, that's okay, I understand that, but this, to me, almost covers it differently, because what you included, and we did talk about this, was that the need to perform asphalt spot repairs or complete parking lot resurfacing, and the type of material used shall be determined by the village engineer.
Yeah.
So that's what I have it in 2021-6, I just didn't put it in this one. So if you want it in this one as well, we can do
Well,
it.
there's a slight difference between the first one and this one.
Right.
This one is not only the type of material, but the
The
need
full-
to either do a spot repair or more of a repair shall be determined by the village engineer.
Yeah, no, and I think that line's important, to
Uh-huh.
make a difference between them. And I believed we had talked about that before, too,
Yes.
because
Right.
I recognized it right
Do
away.
you want to leave just this one on 7 and leave 6 as is, or do you want to put the same thing for both?
Well, for 129211, that's talking about like the initial construction of it.
Okay.
So you really aren't doing spot repairs, it would have to be.
Okay.
So to me, that last line,
So
to
add-
me, it goes with
So
maintenance,
that's,
I don't know how
that
that.
wording is good for you?
Yeah,
The proposed wording?
yeah, I'm fine.
So we need an amendment for that one.
Yeah.
When Jennifer do that,
I'll see that, he's Brian through
then. We're spreading the,
Hey, we're in there, let's do it.
Where's my water bottle?
Do it now before we have to change it again, you
Right.
know?
Oh, no, that's fine, that's why we're
here,
here.
yeah.
Are you,
Yeah.
you good with,
Yeah,
so you'll make that amendment, Brian will make the other one, okay?
well, actually, that's the same sentence. I mean, that's the same paragraph.
Same paragraph.
You want me to do the whole thing?
you can do the whole, yeah, it's the same
All right,
paragraph.
I'll do the whole thing.
If you're gonna read the whole
Okay.
paragraph
Yeah, it's
anyway.
the same paragraph.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's the same paragraph, so I'll just, Mayor and
Yeah.
council, do you want me to read it as it's written on this sheet and
Yeah,
that you got?
Yeah, I would think the email that
I
you'd
think
sent.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, just
Okay.
the amend to read this,
Okay, very good, thank you. I'll
Yep.
read it verbatim as
can't go wrong, read the whole thing. Any other questions on 1292.12? So we got through 1292.11, 1292.12B. Any questions from the
No.
public?
not yet.
We'll go to item C, 1252.02, definitions. Any questions on that?
And this, just for the public, is the one we're discussing now, is change some definition of, what was it, the?
Facility.
Facility, yeah, from a group home to a facility home, change the definition and brought that in line with current Ohio code.
Right.
Let me grab something real quick.
Yeah, I don't believe there was anything in here that we changed, actually. It was just
This
like
was
you
all
said, the
compliance verbiage.
definitions.
Right. it's
So
to
it
comply
reflects-
with Ohio
And we didn't do it, Mr. Smerigan was the one kind enough to go through all of it
Yeah.
and handle it all, thank you.
We're just trying to get up to speed with what the state requires.
Right.
Right,
Okay, so are we good on that?
yeah.
Item D, before we move on, item C, any questions from the public?
No.
Okay. Item D, Country Home, Chapter 1266, Country Home District.
I may have something there. It was what somebody brought up, I don't know if it was Mary. I was reading that the Country Home District, while we're here, other animals.
I did the chickens, it's in there.
You,
I did.
I brought up the chickens, yes.
I covered the chickens.
huh?
I covered the chickens.
How did you cover them?
I added in I took it out.
Where is it at, John?
Where somebody prohibited them, I took it out.
John
Okay.
sits in section 2 of the ordinance.
Correct, so before we
Mine
were.
still has it in.
It should say read as and then doesn't have
Well, maybe,
So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
on
you
the third
did, you
page.
did, exactly.
it. Okay, I just
exactly.
removed the
No
chickens from
pigs,
the
cows,
prohibited
sheep, goats,
animals.
okay.
And then I pointed to the ordinance of where you need to look for how many you can.
There you go.
Here's a stupid question, because I'm not a farmer. Are chickens considered livestock?
They're
I would think
poultry,
Poultry, yeah.
No?
poultry.
Thank you.
I always thought, well, like cows and that's livestock, you know, and bulls and
Yeah,
cow chickens.
Do they have to have
I
4
can
legs?
barely identify one. Thank you, I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
How's everybody on item D? We can take our time still. Any questions from the public on
No,
item D?
not yet.
Okay. George, did you have any comments, or, okay?
I think we're good.
Okay. Everybody good with item D? Okay, any public comment, which is item 4? Any comments from the public at this time?
None yet. Give it a few seconds since we're on the lid.
Yeah, we'll give it a few minutes. Anybody watching the meeting that would like to make any comment relating to the public hearing, or A, B, C, or D, the zoning amendments that are before council?
None yet. No comments.
All right, well, why don't we give it a few more minutes? We'll give it 5 more minutes if anybody has any comments. I think that would be fair. John, you think that's plenty of time, or?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, we'll give a few more minutes, and
A minute,
no comments, we can ask for adjournment.
Brian. A minute.
We did discuss most of this at last meeting.
Right. able to also submit comments since April 17th.
And also
Right.
with the planning commission.
Right.
We had discussed with the planning commission today.
Correct. Yeah, you might want to grab your mic.
So, I'm sorry, yes.
Forgetting about that.
It probably picks you up. Okay,
Okay.
any comments?
No comments.
Okay, we're just a few minutes behind, so I think we've allowed enough time. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing
Sec-
Tuesday, May 18th.
Second.
Motion made by Mary Brenner Miller, second by Jennifer Allen.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes. Okay, all council at 6:00, adjourn the meeting at 7:24 PM.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. We will go right into our council meeting. George, you're more than welcome to stay if you want, or do you think, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you, George,
you.
for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
And we did get your email
Thank you,
on
George.
the stuff that you sent me, and thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay,
I forwarded it over.
When you're ready, we'll follow up.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help, George.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kid, are we ready to go right into our meeting? Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular council meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, May 18th, 2021 at 7:25 PM. Second order of business. Oh, let me put our caveat in here. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following House Bill 404 that allows public bodies to meet electronically through July 2021. Okay. Second order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, we got this. No, that's fine. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take a few minutes of silence. Pray for our deceased residents, Gail DeWalt, Betty Richer, Jeanette Sagaloo Schaefer, and Clarence Fictus. And please pray for all our active duty service personnel.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Roll call.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Here.
Councilman Linville?
President.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Here. Okay. All council present, along with our fiscal officer Angela Reve and our law solicitor John Montello. Okay. Item 5, motion to receive and file special council and regular council meeting minutes. Can I get a motion for under 5 for item A?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve and file the special council meeting minutes of March 9th, 2021.
Second. Second by Mr. Whedon.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes. Special council meeting minutes of March 9, 2020 approved by a 6-0 vote. Thank you, everybody. Can we get a motion for item B?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file The council meeting minutes of April 20th, 2021.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Spitznagel.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Lee.
Yes. Okay, regular council meeting minutes of April 20th, 2021, approved 6-0. Okay, item 6. Any comments from any residents
No,
related to the agenda items?
not yet.
Okay, and just, everybody knows, you can, residents or anybody watching can submit a comment at any time, and we will answer it throughout the meeting. Okay? Any comments right now? Okay, does council have any comments? Okay, I'll move on to the mayor's report. This is the monthly mayor's court report for the month of April. For this month, it's $19,276.05. Year to date, $82,804.72. Last year, year to date, was $71,593.37. So we're up about $11,000 this month compared to last year at this time. Okay. Then I do have the Walton Hills Police Department. This is for the month of 2021. The Walton Hills Police Department issued 145 citations in the month of April. The predominant violation was speeding, with 43 citations, followed by 14 written for driving with a suspended license and 13 citations for driving on a closed roadway. There was one arrest for driving while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I'd like to see that at 0, but 1 isn't so bad either. So nice to see that. Okay. That concludes my report. I don't know if council wants it, anybody from council has a report they'd like to give now, or you can give it at the end of the meeting under old or new business. That's up to you. Either way.
I should leave it now.
Mayor,
Yes.
I have a report from the street commissioner, Rob Kalman.
Yes.
This is dated May 18th of 2021. Brush chipping and wood chip delivery to residents has commenced. They are cutting the village-owned property, the grass, and doing maintenance of right-of-ways. And they're doing the setup and take down of chairs and tables for events at the community center. Permits issued by the Building and Zoning Department, 5 residential building permits, 2 commercial building permits, 8 zoning permits. Property maintenance enforcement, 14 notice of violations have been sent, 10 high grass notices have been sent, and 6 violation grass cutting performed by the service department. And that completes Mr. Kalman's report. Thank you, Mr. Kalman.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Callen, and Service Department, and thank you, Mr. Spitznagel. Any other reports at this time?
Mayor, I would just like to comment on Rob Delman. He does an excellent job, I think. He never, ever leaves anything, untoward or unkept. He always makes sure everything is straightened out, because I walk, as you know, and I see things, and I see the job that he does, and I want to commend Rob for a really good job. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Denny. I'm sure he does too. And I'm sure Rob and his guys, which is what you need, his whole crew. So, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, Mayor Colgraf
Yes.
and members of council, I have a short report update from our police department, Village of Walton Hills Police Department. The officers attended 8-hour class, the gun game. This course is intended to give police officers an understanding of street-level gun activity, armed person recognition, gang behavior, and gun investigations. Additionally, Sergeant Walsh and Officer Molnar attended a 5-day course for female officers only. This course includes topics such as deadly errors, active shooter training, critical incident survival, firearm subject control tactics, cover and concealment, officer survival, psyche of survival, hostile environment reaction, and simunition scenarios. Thank you, and we want to say thank you again to the Walton Hills Police Department for all of their fine work that they do.
Thank you, Mr. Whedon. We certainly all agree with that, and we're very fortunate we have very good employees serving our village. Any other reports? Okay. I think you're good there. Any council comments? Okay.
Well, Mayor, while we're doing those reports, if I may, I was going to wait, but since we did those, we had a information committee meeting a couple weeks ago, and got some good changes to the website. Lisa Canzoni, who everybody knows works at the Village Hall here, and she maintains that website. It's a county website. And she sent us an email of what she had done, so I'd like to just read that briefly. Just the changes that have made so far. She changed the documents and forms page to make that more user-friendly. Added more schools to the schools page, and she said if there's any thing that she missed, please let her know. The mayor's court was changed to just court, and added address and contact information and moved it to government, under the government's tab. Added the address and contact information for the building department and service department, and also added the page fees for transportation services. So those are now on the website. And more to come. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Information Committee. I know you had a meeting, was that last week or the week before?
Last week.
And that went very well.
And Lisa has done a fabulous job in as many changes as she got done in less than a week's time. It's really appreciative that she did that.
That's very good. I will let her know that too. Okay. And we can continue to update it. Anybody has anything? I know from our last meeting, our COW meeting, we talked about Police Week, EMS Week. So we posted that on the webpage, the Facebook, and the sign. Anybody hears of anything similar to that or anything we're missing, don't hesitate to call. And we want to use the forms we have.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I do want to say that I misspoke last week. I had my days switched, and I thought that National EMS Week ended on the 16th. It started on the 16th. So last week was for the police. This week is for the firefighters, paramedics, intermediates, and basics, and dispatchers. So thank you to everyone.
Right, I know Jennifer texted me, but I didn't have to worry. The staff was already ahead of us, and they had it right. So we're very fortunate. Like I said earlier, we have good people working here, and they were ahead of the game, and they posted it correctly.
Right.
So they make us all look good.
Yes.
And you guys make me look good too. We're all working together. That's the key. So, with that said, any council comments? Any other ones? I have some stuff, but it will be for old business. Nothing, well, I will just make one comment before we get to the legislation. I did talk to Sean McCormick today. She did call, and I know we do have the Lake Club on the legislation on tonight for the Lake Club agreement between the Lake Club and the Village of Walton Hills. And she just wanted me to make the comment that the lake is watching and following everything that's going on as far as regulations to do with COVID-19, and just that they want to enhance the programs for the village and are excited about it and moving forward, and they at the same time know are cautious and will follow the guidelines that are out there, and they're looking forward to a great season for all of us that are members and non-members that take advantage of the agreement that is on the agenda tonight, with the days that everybody can go, and the parkers and stuff. So just wanted to make, she wanted me to make that comment that our residents, the volunteers, are all working hard, and memberships out. It certainly is refreshing compared to last year when we had to say we're not going to enter into agreement because it's going to be closed and everything. So it's a good thing. So I just wanted to make that comment. Anybody else have anything before we move on to legislation?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think most of this legislation can go through as an emergency. I mean, certainly all of the things on construction standards, in my opinion, we've been talking about it for how long? And I would like to see that passed so it can be on the books and effective immediately. And the Lake Club, we know that we are on a deadline with them too. They are going to be in need of their money. And I believe we had it on one reading or two at least.
This is the second.
This would be the
So this would be the second.
Yeah.
So I would ask if everyone's comfortable with that, to be on an emergency so they can get their money and get everything handled. The Parker program's going to be starting soon also, which is going to be taking advantage of that. And the Fabrizi change order, I believe this would have been the second reading also?
No,
We
this
talked about COW last
we
week.
could just
Okay.
talk about it. And let me, did you want to comment, or I'll comment on, that's one thing I forgot to comment on was the letter. But
No, go ahead.
Are you good, Jennifer?
Mhm.
Okay. To get to the Fabrizi, I know in the COW meeting, we talked about, there was some discussion on getting something maybe from Maple Heights. Did their council pass, an ordinance or pass it in the budget? So John, I'll let you talk since this email went to you. You guys do have the email in front of you that John received, so we can kind of go through it. And you also have the legislation that they passed earlier, as you can see, in January, the year before, with for the project itself, which their loss, well, I'll let John explain. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, basically, the law director issued an opinion, as he did with the first change order, stating that additional legislation is not necessary in connection with the proposed change order because they're obligated under the terms of the original ordinance to pay any costs associated with the project, including any change orders. So his opinion is council's approval wasn't necessary, and they're reassuring us that they intend to pay it, and I feel confident that at least gives us a legal opinion from their law director as well as their engineer that they intend to comply with the terms of the change order.
And they are paid up to date.
Yeah, they are paid up to date. This is the only thing pending. As mayor, I feel very comfortable with it. We've had a good relationship. The project's going well. As everybody probably has seen, the base of the project, the cement and the curves, everything is really, really going well. We've had some great weather. It's cooperating. I had a meeting today with myself, John, Rob, and Joe Gelati, and that project is on schedule. And we'll be glad when it's done, and we're getting closer, and it's going well. So I would ask that council approves the change order tonight, if they would like. It's up, you know, to you. But I feel very comfortable. We got an opinion now in writing,
Yes, I would urge them to pass it tonight as well, Mayor. I'm sure the work is probably already commenced, probably, or about ready to commence, so I don't know for sure, but I would say that that the plan is to have the work done within the next couple of weeks, so if we delay it till next month's council meeting, we don't want to delay the project at all.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I can tell you it's close, because I drive it every day. And so it's very close to putting that last layer on.
Mr. Mayor?
yes.
I think delaying this also, ultimately, it's going to delay us getting paid for when the work is complete. So I would appreciate to see that go through as an emergency so that we do have it. And I did see in the original draft legislation that John gave us last week, Mr. Montello, that before the last whereas, before now be it resolved, says that the city of Maple Heights has agreed to pay for 100% of the cost of all additional work. So thank you, Mr. Montello, for double checking and that we are completely covered.
Well, it is a lot of money, so it makes sense to check it out.
And since we are still on the everybody good with that then? Okay. And we'll go through these real quick, but might as well talk about them, and then we can assign who wants to read them. But item E, I know that kind of, Angela talked about that, but before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know there's a memo that Joe put together. He took his original memo from 3/1/2021 and updated it yesterday, 5/17/21, and it just talks about the OPWC funding. We missed it by a few points. We scored 57. We needed 64, but we're reapplying. And as you know, we did receive the county grant. And in this letter, it also says that the county money will be able to be used in 2022, especially if we get the OPWC, and then that project will be fully funded. And I know there's been some questions, and I'll let Angela talk briefly about that, some questions about whether or not we can use the CARES money
Well, yeah, sure. First, with this
for
fund,
paving. Yes, go ahead
with
with
this
that.
piece, I apologize, because Joe and I discussed this 50/50 piece in the beginning of March, and then I acknowledged it and I forgot all about it. There's no hard deadline on that. If you'd like it on first reading, that would be okay. But it is important for us to go ahead and accept the money from the county, because it is good for that 2 years. So when we apply for the other half, on those projections we went over months ago that Joe gave us of projects we may or may not do, depending on grant funding, this was one of them. And that way this secures our first half so that we can go back out to OPWC again next year for the difference and get this taken care of. And then the mayor wanted me to address, we've gotten more guidance. All along we've had some webinars about the relief funding that's coming to us from the federal government that is yet to hit anybody's bank account, but it was always, okay, we're waiting on guidance, So the last webinar that I did last week did give a decent amount of guidance. And so I mentioned in the past, it was $444,000 and change that we were awarded as a village. Half of that will come this year, and no sooner than 1 year after they award and put it in our bank account will the other half come. There's been questions about what it can be used for. Even though they say they lifted restrictions, they're still very specific to the pandemic. So when they talked on our webinars about infrastructure, just an example of what they gave was broadband. Let's make sure there's more broadband in your cities and villages to make sure everyone has access to the internet. When it comes to roads, we can't prove our road conditions came from a result of the pandemic. We can't prove maybe even that a roof came, you know what I'm saying? So the things that maybe would have been on a wish list, still restricted from that. So we can still use that for premium pay for first responders. So we will be looking at ways and working with other departments to make sure we put it all to proper use, obviously. But we do have reporting to do for it, and so we will have to document that whatever we're spending it for was directly related to the pandemic.
Mr. Mayor? Angela, is there a way, and maybe you could look into it, that for ventilation purposes?
Absolutely.
With
So-
heating and cooling for this
So
building?
that is something I did consider. An HVAC system is, would be helpful here, and that would probably be something that would be valid because it would be improved ventilation for sure. Our HVAC system is very old, and it has to be worked on repeatedly. So that is potentially something. Police radios might actually even be something, because that definitely helps with response throughout the pandemic and beyond. So I will be looking at all the little idiosyncratic things that we've kind of already earmarked. And I wish I could say we could go out and do bigger things, but obviously it's not a lot of funding and it'll be easy to soak up. But that's basically the guidance is still kind of, just sticking to, we could put programs in place. We're able, if we wanted to grant out money to any businesses that were struggling here. We can also, if we were going to improve a building to, say, offer vaccines, that's something that would be legitimate. But, yeah, there's, we can't just all, and they said revenue replacement, which I think got everybody thinking like, oh, great, but it's still pretty limited on the use, so, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll keep you abreast of things that come up that we feel might fit into, and when the money does finally hit, everybody's still kind of waiting on when their money's coming. Bless you. So we'll just keep everybody abreast of what projects we've decided to put toward it.
Yeah, because you'll have to approve them.
Yeah.
So,
Can we use some of that money for in the village, vaccine, get the vaccine lottery?
Do a, yeah, right. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Never mind.
don't cause trouble.
Well, just on that note, today it opened up for the vaccine, millions.
Yeah.
So that opened up today.
Yeah, people are having a hard time getting on it. Just,
Right, if we knew of anybody whose homes were foreclosed on by chance because of them being out of work, like things like that, we can certainly take into consideration. So they are generous in that aspect of it. Obviously, we could never replace any kind of company match, or a village match on any pensions or anything like that. We can't, we can't replace income tax money, so.
and we're gonna continue to follow that. I know.
Sure, I'm sure we tweaked along the way.
Right, in our meeting today, of course, with John being a law school in other communities, you'll have access to the meetings I have with the other mayors and through the
Yeah.
Mayor's Association, and anything you hear, because like you said, it's just, like with everything that has gone through, it gets expanded, or one person reads it another way, and then it gets explained. So we're certainly going to, you guys would be part of it, put it to the best use that we can.
And I'm happy to pass on webinar information too, if you want to read through. Again, I know we'll probably be tweaking along the way again, but.
And information we receive on what it would be spent on. So
Yeah.
none of us have, we haven't even received it yet.
Well, I was on the National League of Cities webinar last week. That was the second one. That's the one that gave more guidance. So I do have the basic guidance.
It's like anything, once we start receiving the funds, then they'll be spent, and then all of a sudden, everybody's asking questions, because until you receive the funds, but once you have the funds, then, you do want to use them,
Right.
So any questions on that, on the county road 50/50 funding program? Go ahead, Jen.
Angela, I was just going to say, the 2-year time period, does that start when we adopt?
For 21, 22, so for the full years, I believe, we can clarify that with Joe. But basically, we would have, once the money is awarded, like we got let's say we get the OPWC money in early 2022, I believe we would have till the end of the year. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Kind of how they did your horseshoe up there, where we had a certain amount of time to go ahead and get the work done after the money was over.
Any questions on that, on the legislation then? We can kind of go through it real quick. Item A,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce ordinance 2021-6. I just had it here.
Oh, we're gonna start, you wanna do the legislation right now?
Oh, did you?
Okay.
Okay.
I was just gonna sign it, we'll just go through
Okay.
it, let's do it.
2021-6, an ordinance amending section 1292.11A paving and declaring an emergency for suspension.
Is it second by Mr. Spitznagel?
Second.
Hold on.
Are we doing
Whoa,
it?
hold on.
Brian already,
Why are you going into the,
Brian already seconded,
I thought, oh, you.
but that's
That'd be a
okay, it's hard to
Explain it.
hear with the mask and stuff.
I'm just moving it along.
Vote on the suspension.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance 2021-6.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-6 passed, 6-0. Item B, who would like to introduce that?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce ordinance 2021-7, an ordinance amending section 1292.12A, maintenance, and declaring an emergency
For suspension?
for suspension with, should I read the
Amendment?
amendment now?
Yes.
For suspension with the following amendment. I'd like to change the current is hereby repealed and amended as follows to read: A, maintenance. A parking area or loading space shall be maintained in a manner to keep it as free as practicable from rubbish, paper, and other loose particles, and snow and ice shall be promptly removed by the operator. All adjacent sidewalks shall be kept free from dirt, ice, sleet, and snow, and in a safe condition for use by pedestrians. All signs, markers, or any other methods used to indicate direction of traffic movement and location of parking and/or loading spaces shall be maintained in a neat and legible condition. All signs and pavement markings shall comply with the provisions of the Ohio Building Code and such standards as may be established by the village engineer. Any walls, trees, and shrubbery, as well as surfacing of the parking lot, shall be maintained in good condition throughout its use for parking purposes. The need to perform asphalt spot repairs or complete parking lot resurfacing and the type of material used shall be determined by the village engineer.
Second.
Okay, then vote on the suspension and the amendment.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance 2021-7
Second.
with the amendment
As read.
as read.
Second.
Jennifer, okay. Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance passed with the amendment. 6-0. Okay. Item C. Would you like to introduce
Mayor
that?
Colgraf, I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance number 2021-8, an ordinance amending section 1252.02 definitions to comply with current federal and state construction standards and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mary Brenner Miller.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Suspension passed.
Mayor Colgraf, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance number 2021-8.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Spitznagel.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance passed. 2021-8, 6-0. Item D. Who would like to introduce that?
Mr. Mayor?
Gloria.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 2021-9, Chapter 1266, Country Home District, and declaring an emergency
For adoption. For suspension.
for suspension. Second.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed, 6-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance number 2021-9, Chapter 1266, Country Home District.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Second by Mr. Whedon.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-9 passed. 6-0. Item E.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to
Mary
introduce.
Brenner Miller.
I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance 2021-10, County Road 5050 funding program Alexander Road from Dunham Road to Walton Road, and ordinance authorizing the Village of Walton Hills to enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga County for participation in the 50/50 funding program for county roads for the resurfacing of Alexander Road from Dunham Road to Walton Road and declaring an emergency. Second.
Is there a who?
Second.
Gloria.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Yes.
to ask for adoption of ordinance 2021-10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Spitznagel.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed 6-0 and adoption passed 6-0. That was for ordinance 2021-10. Item F. Who would like to introduce that?
Mr. Mayor,
Jennifer
I'd like to ask for suspension of Resolution 2021-11, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Walton Hills Club Company, an Ohio corporation doing business as Walton Hills Lake, for the provision of recreation services for the benefit of the residents of the village through the remainder of the calendar year 2021, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2021 with the Walton Hills Lake Club Agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gloria.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-11 passed 6-0. Item G. Who would like to introduce that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to
Mary.
introduce for suspension a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the, ooh, I'm reading the wrong one. Yes, sorry, I didn't flip my page.
That's okay.
Let me get to
You can
that.
start over.
Okay,
Item G,
2021.
Mary.
Yeah, I know. No, I didn't flip the page. A resolution authorizing change order number 2 for Fabrizi Trucking and Paving Company, Inc., increasing the contract by $77,023 for the reconstruction of Dunham Road and Tinkers Creek Road and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
And that was for suspension?
Yeah, well, I thought I said that.
Okay.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Linville,
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky,
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel,
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed 6-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2021-12.
Second.
Second by Jennifer Allen.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Resolution 2021-12 passed 6-0. Just one more comment, I think we did mention it, but that resolution, that change order costs the village nothing. That is something that has taken place in Maple Heights, and they are paying the full part of it. It's just that we manage the contract, and so we pay it and then we get reimbursed. Just so if any residents or anybody doesn't, it's not any extra to the village, since it occurred, that change order in the Maple Heights community. Okay. Okay, item 10, thank you everybody for the legislation. Item 10, all the new business. New business, we are having a Memorial Day service. It will be, as we put in the journal, social distancing and mask. We'll talk about, after I get through these, I thought we could talk a little bit about how we move forward, but I think until June 2nd, we'll follow that. So we'll be outside, we'll probably set up chairs in the courtyard and maybe on the grass, but I think it's important that we do have a service on Memorial Day. It will be at 8:30, so we'll have that. Let's see. We already did the reports. A couple things to think about. We will have a meeting June 1st, that Tuesday. So I think a couple things to think about is, we'll see if we have anything as far as recessing July and August, how council feels. And also, I think we do need, as things move forward, and we can talk a little bit tonight about how we want to proceed with restrictions and how we want to continue to move forward. I'll give you a few of my thoughts. You can share some of your thoughts. Think about it. Some of my thoughts, I know I shared them with some council members today, just talking about it, is that, and it's up to council, I'm good either way, that we continue this maybe through June, doing the YouTube through June, and then if we take a recess, we certainly would have 2 months to see where everybody's at and how everybody feels. I think these meetings are effective. I know a lot of residents like them because they can view them and they're there and they never go away and they can view them anytime. So that's just something to think about. I would say, as of right now, our meeting June 1st will be like this meeting. If council's in agreement with that, or if you think we need to have some discussion, you can talk to the council president, myself, or among each other, however you want to do it. That's just how I feel. As far as, I'll be talking to the department heads. But our goal is that our employees are comfortable and with safety and how they feel. Even if the restrictions are lifted and people feel they're more comfortable wearing a mask and keeping the distance, I think we should respect that. I think that's important to our workplace and to our employees. So I think we can just start some discussion moving forward. I think we'll have some more clearer guidance from the state, from the county. It would be nice if they kind of all come together, and we've kind of gone through this in the beginning, just kind of the opposite when we ramped up for the COVID-19, and now that we're ramping down, I think in the next few weeks we're going to see some things get together and give us a little clearer vision. But I'd rather, err on the safe side, and some things I don't think should go away. I think how we sanitize things, clean things, and stuff should stay there. Having hand sanitizer and things available, and wiping things down more than normal, and how we clean things are probably just good hygiene that we should be doing anyways. And there's a cost to some of those, but I think council feels that way. So I know me and Ray talked a little bit about it today. Mary, I know we talked a little, just get everybody thinking a little bit on how we want to proceed. But I think as of right now, I don't know how council feels, if anybody wants to make a comment about June, how we want to proceed with June. If you're not sure, but if you have any guidance, it's up to everybody, really. These are council meetings, it's really, even though I always want, it's council meetings, but the mayor's the chair, but I don't know how everybody feels.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Jennifer?
I think we should proceed as we have been for the month of June at least. But I would also like to see us continuing to live stream even if life gets back to normal for all of our residents. So whatever we need to do, I know Brian and I have talked about that he's looked into some of that. I think it's a valuable asset for a lot of our residents, especially we've got an older population, in the village, and it would make it easier for them to find out what's going on in the village and things like that without having to come out in inclement weather or anything else like that. So that's what I would like to see for now, and then I would like to see us discuss it, and as you said, see where the state is, the number of vaccinations, things like that, for our meetings starting back up in September then.
Good.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I was on the computer earlier, and Walmart, Costco, and Target are not requiring masks
No.
for
Neither's
shopping there.
Aldi.
So
They
this
did
is
that
going to
last-
be
they
a
did that.
test, I think, to see if,
Coles didn't either.
pardon?
Aldi's
Coles
also-
didn't either today. No mask for the employees or people going in and out in Macedonia.
The trend is that I heard is that masks were going away by June the 1st.
Yeah, the governor's orders is June the 2nd or
Right.
June the 1st,
I'm
whatever.
ready to throw this thing away now, frankly.
Right. But Denny, with that said, I think and not just you, but all of us here, is we just need to agree on something so we're a front together, so.
Mr. Mayor?
I think we all agree, we like the, yes,
Oh, we
go ahead.
all- Yeah, I think, when we come back, the next meeting, we should wear our masks, and I think we'll get some guidance by then, because once the governor makes his announcement, and then you can just move forward from what we hear from him. But I agree about the live streaming. I remember years ago when Mike had his house in Macedonia, they always had it televised, and they would play it like the next day, and I could watch their council meeting, and I thought, what a brilliant idea. And of course, we never had anything like that here. And I think it really is invaluable. When the weather's bad, people don't want to go out, we have an older population, people can stay abreast of what's going on in the village. So it's a great asset.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I know some of the businesses have said that they won't require employees and things like that, but there have also been stipulations with some of those businesses that if you are completely vaccinated, then you don't have to actually wear your mask. So I think it's important to have real clear guidelines from the state, and I think they need to tighten that up really quick for people to understand, because that could turn into a big mess. You don't know if somebody's been vaccinated or not, with their mask on or not.
This is very true. I know people in my realm of the Facebook world that are not vaccinated, that have already gone out without masks. So who's to ask them to prove that they're vaccinated? So
Right.
it's all going to be a little bit of a social experiment on the caution.
I think now we're touching on constitutional issues, so maybe we should it's called everyone has a right to choose.
Yeah,
so-
absolutely, but right,
You
so I
know,
don't
but
see
I
us going
mean-
to the store and them asking for a card is what do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
how are you gonna card people when they
Right.
go in,
It's gonna be a
so
matter of-
this goes way into
Yep,
all kinds of
yeah,
other
yeah.
things.
I know we talked a little bit today, we also meet John and Stan had a meeting early this afternoon, and we talked about the court, because that's something we're gonna see how the court is, because right now the court stages people. We stage people in the community room, bring them in. Only so many people can come in. You can only come in if you actually have a citation. You know, you can't come in as an observer. There's just a lot of different rules, so that's gonna be something to be looked at. As far as our lobby, you know, we can open that. I mean, our staff is pretty comfortable because they're behind something, you know, who's ever answering the window, and along with dispatch, you know, the lobby isolates it by the sliding door, and dispatch the same way. So those are all things we're very fortunate there. Just different ways we're going to do it. Our goal is, like all of it here, especially having a small staff, is just to respect each other. You know, I mean, that's what it's about. So I know how I feel. Maybe I don't want to wear a mask, but if people around me say, Don, I'm more comfortable with you wearing a mask, I'm not going to argue. I just assume make everybody comfortable. Or vice versa. So just something to think about. I don't know if anybody, Ray, do you want to add anything, or Mayor, anybody else want to add anything? But
Yeah, Mayor and members of council, I also, you know, think on June 1st, we should come in like we have been, have a little further discussion. One of the things I think about, and we've talked a little bit about HVAC, this is still a small area even for 10 people. And behind the glass. I mean, Mayor, you know, as the Mayor's mentioned about the safety of our employees. We have employees that right now are not sharing vehicles. That's another thing that needs to be talked about. So let's just continue as we are, finish out the month of June, and prepare for the future for all of the aspects, whether it's council chambers, all of our employees, visitors coming in, court system, and moving forward on a comprehensive level. I'm ready to throw away too, but
I am too.
Yeah.
however,
yes, go ahead.
I can tell you that Garfield Court is going to continue to do things virtually, even no matter what happens there, just as being a more efficient, safe manner of handling cases. So, and there is, Bedford's going to require the masks. The Bedford Court is going to require the masks for another month at least. So we'll see what happens. Like you say, it's too early. It seems to be an abrupt change all of a sudden, and everybody's a little nervous. So it's not to be big and sorry, in my opinion.
Right. I think erring on caution certainly isn't going to hurt us. I think we've done a good job keeping our constituents abreast of everything and aware, and we'll continue to do that. So just more food for thought. I didn't know if you wanted to touch Mr. Linville, anything are looking to, and let Angela know, infrastructure committee, is that going to be before the next COW meeting, or is the infrastructure committee thinking about having it the second meeting or council meeting? Just was wondering. So just to have that, and we can, you don't have to tell me now. If you're not sure, then we'll have to know in a couple weeks.
Okay.
You know. With that said, I did want to mention, I know all of you probably, now that the weather's warm, and of course with Dunham Road and stuff, there's been a lot of questions about road repairs every spring, and of course our secondary roads. I know I did mention to some of the members of the infrastructure committee that maybe we should at least review it, have Joe come in, use his survey, review it in the infrastructure committee, and see which roads, and then either bring it to bring it all to council, see where we're at. Is if we plan on doing some repairs at that time too, we can maybe have a handle on where the budget's at, where we're going, and see if we can do some repairs or some paving. I think I'm sure everybody's been asked about that, so I think it's something that needs to be looked at. And since I know you're having an infrastructure committee, might as well start there and get some of the legwork done there. So,
I agree.
that's really all I have for old and new business. I hope everybody can make it Memorial Day. It's going to be pretty, our usual Memorial Day service should be very nice. Important. I haven't heard from, I know Bedford, they've been contemplating it again. Have they made a decision, or?
They had a meeting last night. I think they're gonna do a drive-by, they haven't made a final decision, but I think they're gonna do a drive through the neighborhood thing. And I think that's what they're gonna do. Bedford, that's why I was texting, Bedford Heights is wondering if Bedford's having one. I guess there's been no positive decision. I think you have plenty of space here to hold it.
Well, we're good with ours because that's why we have ours at 8:30, because in case they do have it at 10:30, we can always go and join the Bedford one, but I haven't heard anything. So if they have it more of a small thing, I'll just depends on what the other can, but as soon as I hear something about Bedford, I'll let you know, or if John hears something, I know Stan was gonna let me know, so whatever, we'll see, but,
I don't think it's gonna be like the usual parade.
no. I know they talked about the 4th of July they're not gonna have the parade from at least what I understand right now. But with that, if we hear anything, but we're definitely having ours. It will be outside, and we'll get hopefully we'll get a nice day, and we'll remember our veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice for us, so.
Well, there's only 2 weeks, so I would think if they were doing something, they would be organizing it. So.
Well, they were talking about it yesterday,
Right.
I know. It's yeah.
Last minute.
Right, but just as a drive-through in the
Yeah,
city
that's
itself
right.
with
Right.
just them, so it doesn't sound offhand. But please let us know if something changes.
Yeah, I will definitely let you know, because if there is, I know we like to participate, and if the other
Sure.
communities are participating, I certainly want to participate too. So, and I know council's always participated, so I'll let everybody know, and if you hear something different, but otherwise, we'll have ours at 8:30. The only thing that will be different, we will not have anything inside. We will not have coffee or pastry. We're going to have the service, and then that's it. That will be the only difference.
You can feel free to bring some donuts.
Hopefully next year or moving forward, we'll, I know the Women's Club has approached me, and Rob's putting something together. They would like to purchase a flagpole for the event center, because there is no flagpole up there. And I'll probably be talking about that. I was thinking if things continue to go forward the way they are, maybe we can have something, Veterans Day. Maybe have something up there, gives us some time, a dedication along with honoring the veterans. It's kind of a good time. Memorial Day is a little different than that. It's just a different day. But I just want to let you know, they wanted Rob to get a price, and they would like to dedicate a flagpole to the village from the Women's Club.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I know Light of Hearts Villa, they have some individuals there that are veterans, male and female, and a few years back, the VFW helped them with the flagpole. So maybe something to check into, that financially they may help with the
Yeah.
pole itself.
I'll have to have Rob look at theirs. We need a, pretty tall, and they wanted something there. We'll have to talk about where we're going to place it and stuff too. But just a very positive thing, a nice thing to, yeah, can never go wrong with having another flagpole.
Right.
Place it in front of the camera.
What's that?
No.
Ray, you are really... Well, you talk about the camera. I don't know if you've seen the news before you came here. It said an increase in the State of Highway Patrol as one of their largest increases in deaths related to speeding on our freeways, related to speeding. Yep. So it just,
It's needed.
slowing people down isn't a bad thing,
Yeah.
so.
A quick question, Mayor.
Yes.
When you gave your mayor's report, you mentioned the tickets or
Yes.
citations for driving on closed roads. Is that Dunham? Is that Dunham Road kind of stuff? You know,
I'm sorry, Ray, when,
the citations for we had some last month and this month.
yes.
Citations for driving on closed roads. Just curious if that's the Dunham
It's
Road.
not, it's just listed as closed roads, whether they're all related to that, Ray, I'm not sure, okay?
That is the only closed road in the village.
Right, so I mean,
never read that in the report.
that's what I was gonna say, I mean, it's probably, that's, I did wanna mention something today, which is a good thing, kudos to our police department and our service department today. We did have, John, I can, as long as I don't give a name, right?
Correct.
A young person, that, was walking on a part of Dunham Road, and between the service guards and the police, they talked to that very young individual, and here somebody was watching them, and they snuck out and kind of ran away, and nothing bad, but our police recovered them, and it was a great thing,
There you go.
along with our service department. They just noticed something different, and, you know, so it was good. That was this afternoon, so just, always, I'll tell you, we always got our eyes on the road. I mean, there's not too much that doesn't happen in Walton Hills that are between our service department and our police department. Mr. Linville walking, that gets around us. We see a lot of things, you know.
Mayor, I think we should have an ordinance that people have to wear some kind of bright color when they walk though on the roads, especially Alexander. All right, we don't have anything like that. But
You know what you did though, Denny?
Huh?
Maybe we don't need an ordinance, but last week, remember in the COW meeting, we talked about putting things in the journal, reminding people,
That's a
like
good
we
idea,
did.
yeah.
That one is perfect.
Just remind them to wear something bright so that the motorists can see them, because,
That, we
you know,
will,
we have an
that,
aging population.
that's a great idea. We'll get something.
Yeah.
We won't be, I don't think we'll be able to get it in June. It might be, I gotta see where that might be already out.
I put a vest on every time when I
No.
walk.
And I do know some people that we've all said it, who are regulars that walk in the evening, and they're hard to see sometimes because they wear dark colored clothes.
Sure,
And they could wear something
Exactly.
that's
exactly, yeah.
reflective. But that's a good one to put, those are the things we're talking about, of adding to the journal like we did about people picking up after their dogs and stuff. That is just a reminder. Thank you. So I don't know if we'll get it in June, but we'll definitely get it in the July journal. And it's a good time to do it right now,
Sure.
because this is when people start riding their bikes, walking,
Yeah.
running. You know, there's just more activity out there, and of course, it's also people not paying attention on the road when it gets nice too. Any questions from any residents?
No.
Let me write that down. Does anybody else have anything to add under new or old business?
Hey, Mayor, that's a nice picture of Mayor Hurst up here, by the way. The picture of Mayor Hurst is very nice. We've got a gold plate ordered for his picture,
Where you ordered, it's
just
ordered.
like the others.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Good, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any other comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I also read an article about the police, about the cameras that are, it's helping the police. They don't have to chase them. They're speeding, they've got the license plate. It's, you know, where these police officers, one of the most deadly thing other than domestic is walking up to a car. And so they don't have to walk up to that car with that. And there's a new weapon that's out. I don't know what it looks like. It's something wrap, it's called. And I guess it's kind of like a gun, but what it does, it shoots this like a rope out, and it wraps around your hand or your leg. So if they're running, you could, shoot that and wrap it around their legs so they fall down. I
Chief
mean,
has been looking into that. It's called a bolo wrap.
what is it called?
It's called a
Bolo
bolo
wrap.
wrap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah,
cool.
we're moving along. I think it's a good idea.
Batman and Robin, huh?
Yeah. Isn't that something, how that kind of comes back, or like
Yeah.
Spider-Man with
Yeah,
the...
that's what I was,
But it's a good thing, I mean, especially something at a distance, it saves lives, that's what's important, so.
And it's not actually tasering somebody instead.
Right.
So,
And maybe that's something we'll even be able to, if there is, be able to fund it, we'll see.
Yep, we do have one comment from Fred Nielsen, and he says, please slow down on the side streets.
Right. Just to let you know, that's a continuous, I probably don't have to let anybody in this room know, because you guys hear it all the time, continuous complaint, I think, not only in Walton Hills, but every community. I know the chief has been staging, and thank you, Fred, for that comment. The chief has been staging the police in different areas. You might see their car sitting in different areas. So, any other comments? Any comments? Any more
No.
comments, Angela?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Behind suicide, traffic accidents are the highest cause of death for our young people. And someone close to my son lost his life this weekend speeding on a side street. So it is a very real thing, and if people would slow down, I mean, it's not really that hard to go the speed limit.
So I think we're going to put, that's not a bad thing to put in the journal too, something like that, be aware of your neighbors, the children, and different things, animals speeding, those little blurbs we put out there and stuff, people read them, and even if they just go through them, the more you hear it, sometimes it sinks in, and for all of us, so just a good reminder. So that is something with the wearing bright colors, we can also add something to do with side streets and watching our speed. Anybody else have anything to add before we ask for adjournment? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the council meeting?
Second. Second by Mr. Lee.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Drolowski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed?
Yes. Okay, council meeting of Tuesday, May 18, 2021, adjourned at 8:31. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. I know it's early in the week, but have a good week, good weekend. Good week. Kid, are we off air?